and I can't think of a physical reason why. I went downstairs that morning to the basement to get some trash bags, but that's it. I know dogs can see, feel things humans can't, so maybe they felt the evil spirits that were in the house. That's the only reason I can come up with why the dogs picked up anything in the basement. So here we hear a theme. It's the theme of evil himself that took over.
Yesterday when you were talking, and again, this is before we kind of got to this moment today, you mentioned that we were talking, you said, I don't know where they are, I don't know where they are, and then you said something along the lines of, whatever happened to them, this act of pure evil. What did that mean?
This is the evil that I saw when I walked behind Shanann and she was on top of CC. And then I felt evil before I did to Shanann.
Okay.
Like at the end of the conversation, it was just like, that's what happened. Mm-hmm. I just wish I could have let go.
Did it seem like it was that long? 2 to 4 minutes? How long did it seem for you?
It almost kind of felt like it was longer almost, because it felt like time was standing still. It's kind of like I just saw my life just disappearing before my eyes, but it just like I couldn't let go. It was like somebody else, like if you picture somebody else around you, holding your hands, holding you, keep you from not letting
you are
go.
seeing actual drive from Chris Watt's house to Survey 319.
Oh, you're gonna have a little brother or sister? Yeah, you think so? Fuck. July, baby?
Good girl, Bella. You're so sweet.
Give her a kiss, Bella? Give her a kiss?
Daddy home.
Daddy home?
No.
No.
Yeah? Let's do it. A little hair. Ready? Set?
Cece, what's Daddy
I
doing?
am so sorry.
Well, guys, there's absolutely no doubt that something horribly evil happened in that house. And the reason I think that something horribly evil happened in that basement, well, there's actually several reasons. So I'm going to put them all together for you. And I have a very concrete theory on this one. I think I know exactly what happened in the basement, or at least one of the horrible events that happened in the basement of the Watts house. Okay, guys, so welcome back to Watts the Obsession live stream and chat. I'm so glad you guys are here with us tonight. So that little beginning intro, it started out reading a little excerpt of one of Chris Watts' letters to Cheryl Lynn Cadle that was published in the book Letters from Christopher, talking about the canine dogs hitting somewhere in the basement. And then it goes into that, terrible, tragic scene. It's real footage from the drive from 2825 Saratoga Trail, the Watts residence, to Survey 319. So I think when we're talking about this case, it's always so important to remember the real victims and their experience. And so welcome. I'm so glad all of you guys are here. If you're new to chat, or if you're just here for chat, we want you to participate in the discussion. We just ask that you are respectful to the victims, to their family members, and of course to one another. Welcome, Cuff You just became a new member. Thanks for becoming a member, Cuff You. It's always so great to see you here in chat, and hello to everybody else that's in here. If you guys wouldn't mind, just take a moment to click like, do that YouTube thing. Go ahead and share the link. Help us get out the notification so more people can come and join us in the chat tonight. Because in tonight's chat and live stream, we are going to be talking about a question that has come up a whole lot lately on this channel and other discussions that I sort of, just watch passively about the Watts case. And it's a question that's been asked all along. It's not a new question. And it was, and I am trying to say this in the most respectful way possible, but did he or they take Shanann or anybody out the back? So we know Chris Watts' ultimate story, that he unalived Shanann in their bed, and then he brought her down the stairs. Bella followed along crying, and then he says Cece followed along. But if you watch my video that is linked in the chat, what happened in the Watts basement, I personally don't think that Cece was conscious at that point, but we're not going to go too far into that tonight. But people ask, we see that footage from Nate Trinistitch's security camera video from next door. And people ask, well, when is the moment when Chris Watts could have possibly brought Shanann out of the house and put her in the truck? So I have a surprise for you. I finally went through that footage just today, really slow motion, zoomed it in, cleared it up as much as I could, and I picked out the important points, including when we see that shadow that comes towards Chris that is said to possibly be the shadow of a child. I do believe that's Bella, but also the moment when it is possible, in my opinion, that Chris could have been bringing Shanann out to the truck. Now, I'm not 100% sure about that, and that's why I want to share it with you guys. I want to know what your opinion is on that. But to just start off the conversation, we're going to watch 2 short videos from 2 other creators. Michelle After Dark, great creator. Her video and channel are linked in the description box below, as well as True Crime Rocket Science, also linked in the description box down below. And both of these videos cover the topic, did he or they take Shanann out the back? I know that you guys in chat have been kind of split. Some people think that did happen. Some people think it didn't happen. Hey, Justice Jane, nice to see you. I always see you because you're in all caps, but it's always great to have you here. So without further ado, just to introduce the topic, I'm going to bring one of those videos into the stream, okay? So welcome, everybody. Come on in. We're so glad you're here. If you're new to the channel or new to chat, please introduce yourself. Let us know where you're from. Someone will definitely say hello back to you. Don't hesitate. Don't be shy. We're really stoked that you're here. We just ask that you're respectful to the victims, to their family members, of course, and to one another. Just normal, good human things, right? All right. So let me bring in one of those videos. I think first we're going to be bringing in the one from, let's go with Michelle After Dark first. She's a great creator. She's covered a number of cases. She is in the field of psychology like myself. I'm a behavioral therapist. I think she is just a psychologist. She does great work. I definitely recommend her channel.
I don't want to put anything out there, like suspecting, like if something like somebody pulled in the back, and because we have a driveway back there from the new townhomes, but it's so hard to tell. Like, there's no cameras in the backyard. Suspecting like if something like somebody pulled in the back, and because we have a driveway back there from the new townhomes, but it's so hard to tell. Like, there's no cameras in the backyard or anything like that. So it's really hard to even suspect anything right now as far as how she could have left, or if someone came picked her up, or if somebody took her.
Meanwhile, today's reality, you've got cops there, cops here, cops in your house, K9 units.
I've never seen something like this in my lifetime unless it was on TV or a movie, and this doesn't seem real at all. It just seems like I'm living in a nightmare and I can't get out of it.
Hello everyone, it's Michelle here with another Chris Watts video. I hope you're doing well. What you can see in front of you is Chris Watts' house from the back. You don't often see it from the back, but there it is. That's the back of Chris's house. So you heard Chris say in the opening clip that there's no cameras around the back. And there's a number of creators, quite a number of creators actually, who are currently arguing that Chris took Shanann, or maybe some accomplices took Shanann round the back. So what we're
Now, before we go any further into this, because I know other people are going to say the same thing, we had our resident oil field expert on a couple weeks ago. There's a whole live stream on it. You guys loved it. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. People found it to be very informative. There are a couple authors that contacted him wanting to talk to him. He is a great wealth of knowledge on everything having to do with the oil fields. He's been in that industry, almost same job that Chris Watts had for over 20 years. He said he's had several of the exact same kind of fleet work trucks that Chris Watts had. So Cowboy RC says, out the back, I don't believe that she was loaded into that small rear seat of the company F-250 Super Cab. That's a hard fit. Well, Kevin, our oil field and geotab and everything having to do with the oil fields, including that particular vehicle expert, said that this is his opinion. He said, absolutely, Shanann could have easily fit in the back. We went over it with a fine-tooth comb, looked at the dimensions of the back floorboard cab area to see if she would fit in. And I, after talking to him especially, I do believe she absolutely could fit in. I'm not to say that you're wrong. I just want to tell you that our expert, on the topic weighed in, and that was his opinion. So I do want to put that out there. That's why we had him on, to get answers to those questions.
What we're going to do in this video is explore that possibility. Now, I can't say for 100% sure that Shanann is Officer Coonrod's body cam from the 13th of August. This is where the Jake, at whatever time she was taken out and spotted either Chris or other people, as we'll get into, taking a body round the back. It's quite unlikely. But if she had been taken out the back, so once she was gotten down the stairs, then she'd have had to been taken through the dining area and then through the doors that you can see where the curtains are. That takes you out onto the decking, and then you'd have had to take her down the stairs and then across the garden, over the fence, and out to a vehicle. Likely? Maybe you would think so. Let me know in the comments. Let's try another route. We'll join Officer Lines, Jane, and Sniffer Dog Cody. We'll imagine we've got Shanann out the bedroom and we're going to take her down the stairs. And this time we're going to take her out the back, but we're going to go via the basement. So let's consider that route. Let's follow them as they head to the basement. So imagine that we're carrying a dead body. So we're going down these stairs. Or even, I've heard it said that Shanann might be alive. And I would discount that because Shanann had no wounds on her. She didn't look like she put up a fight. So I would imagine that she had to be dead. Again, just a balance of probability. I think she was taken out of the house dead. Imagine what a fight she would have put up if she'd have been alive, knowing that her children were in danger. I mean, I just can't see it of Shanann as a feisty mother. But we're down in the basement. Now, let's imagine taking a dead body or a fighting woman out of one of these windows. So let's consider like the Mickey Mouse window. It's not likely, is it? Because then you have to get them up onto ground level through a little window. That seems quite difficult as well. I mean, I've heard people say that, well, Chris couldn't possibly carry Shanann. And I've discounted that in a previous video and said, no, he absolutely could. But then we might argue, as many people do, that Chris wasn't the one carrying Shanann at all. Chris was out the front as some kind of decoy. And I'll come on to that. But first, let's consider the possibility that one or more accomplices manhandled Shanann or Shanann's body out via whatever route. So who could those accomplices be? Well, the obvious candidate is the mistress. That many people think that she was there overnight. But did she carry Shanann? Well, she's very slight. I'm not sure how high she is or how heavy she is, but she's not got a very impressive build. So if you think that Chris couldn't carry Shanann, then certainly the mistress couldn't either. But then again, she did ping in Frederick on that morning, and I can't explain that. So maybe we might say, well, the mistress plus someone else did that. So who would that someone else be? Would that someone else be Leave Jim Alone? Well, not likely he was there because she rang Leave Jim Alone. So why would she ring him if he was there? And the other one is Troy, one of Chris's co-workers, who the police did interview him twice because he was a bit shady about why he went back to survey. But it couldn't have been him in Frederick because we've got his GPS. It's not him either. So who else is there who could have helped Chris? Who else could have been a possible accomplice? Leave that in the comments. And you might say, well, we don't have to go by the timeline. You know, the 5:18 of Chris backing the truck into his drive and then him driving away at 5:46 or something like that. Maybe they took Shanann out the back earlier, like in the middle of the night. Well, that's kind of possible, I guess. They couldn't have used a work truck, so they've had to use another vehicle. So I guess that's possible. However, the thing that I keep coming back to is, why would Chris be a decoy? Because it's absolutely clear, you know, Chris is to-ing and fro-ing, and we see the shadow, we see him carrying something out. Was that a child? Was that Shanann's body? And then we see the shadow. There's definitely a...
And again, guys, I went through that security camera footage with a fine-tooth comb earlier. I enhanced the video, made it much closer up, clarified it as much as I could. And we are going to look at these key moments that she is mentioning right now after we watch this and the True Crime Rocket Science video. Finally, I've been meaning to do that for like years. I finally did it today. Finally did it for you guys.
Another person there is that Bella that we see, a little shadow under the truck. So if they bothered to go to elaborate lengths to get Shanann out the back, why don't we just take them all out the back? Because if you've got something going on in the front and then something going on in the back, well, that's two chances to get caught. That does not make sense whatsoever. Not at all. But let me know what you think in the comments. And that's all I've got for you today. I've been Michelle. I do hope you're well. And I'll see you in the next video.
Okay, so again, that was Michelle After Dark, just a little short clip about her opinion of, did Shanann go out the back door? And again, please, please, please know I'm trying to be as respectful about this topic as possible. This has been a topic that has come up so many times recently in chats and discussions that I know people do want to talk about it. So that is why we're talking about it, okay? So great comments, by the way. I'm pinning all these comments because they're just great, great comments. Like some of you are saying, no, you know, she couldn't have fit in that back cab of the truck on the floorboard. Some of you are saying she definitely could. And again, our oil field geotab fleet truck expert who was on during a live stream about 3 weeks ago. If you want to watch it, it's a very popular live. Those of you who watched it loved it. He had so much great information to contribute answers to questions that us lay people who don't work in the oil fields wouldn't have to these critical questions. And his opinion was Shanann could have fit on that floorboard in the back cab section of the truck. That is just what the expert said. He weighed in. We had him on to answer such questions. I'm just telling you what he said. Okay. Like I'm not married to any position on this. It's just a discussion. I just want you guys to know that. All right, so this is True Crime Rocket Science. Again, linked in the description, another great channel. I actually started watching him when I was doing some work on the topic of the Watts case, familial relationships, for my capstone thesis for my behavioral therapy master's degree, essentially. And I didn't even know about people talking about this case on YouTube yet, but I found him first and have followed him for a long time.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. Well, I didn't think I was going to make a Chris Watts video. I didn't think there was really any urgent need to make one, but something kind of crossed my radar and I just thought I needed to address it. It's basically a creator that is repeating the idea that Shanann was taken out the back. And I guess if you say the same thing over and over again, it becomes the truth. So in this video, what I want to show you, I want to literally help you to imagine that sentence in reality. So I want to take you to the back entrance, and it doesn't really get much coverage in the Watts case. And I want you to try and imagine that idea, Shanann was taken out the back, and just imagine it actually happening. And what I want to show you is just how unrealistic that is. And what I want you to do here isn't to attack another creator, it's just to activate your discernment, where somebody says something, and what I want you to do is just think about it. think about it, look at the information we have, look at the visuals we have, and try to imagine it, and then ask yourself, is that realistic? And so we're going to look at the footage from the back garden area, and we're also going to look at some of the body cam from Officer Coonrod's camera, and just get a sense of how realistic is it, this whole idea that Shanann was taken out the back. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do like, share, leave a comment, and let's get started. So I think this video, in fact, the pictures and the footage is really self-explanatory. I don't think you need to hear my voice at all, but I'm going to narrate it regardless. The point that I just want to make is just how exposed that entire back area is. It's exposed in terms of, if you're looking directly at it from the road, in other words, from the front, it's exposed from the left and the right-hand side, where you have neighbors, kind of a story up that can actually look down in the area. And of course, it's exposed for a very long way to either side, beyond the neighbors, right? Now, you might say, no, it would make sense to go on that side because there's no camera on that side. And so why wouldn't Chris Watts, allow for that to happen? And there are kind of two arguments against it. For me, the one argument is, if you've got the option of the cover, in other words, of the garage and the trees to some extent, and him using his own vehicle, why wouldn't you use that? Because what you have here is basically the idea of someone carrying someone across the entire back garden, that entire flat space. There's no cover. And then, I guess, lifting what you're holding over the boundary fence and then carrying it to the vehicle that's parked there. Isn't that going to sort of raise suspicion? Now, if you go through Officer Coonrod's body cam, you basically see him walking around the side of the house. You can see, so you've also got to ask, how would they transport it? Would it be around the side? I don't think so. Or through the sort of front area, where the kitchen entrance is. That doesn't make sense either, because that's elevated. And look at the view, just how exposed that is from so far away. Look at the line of sight, how far it goes in so many different directions. Do you notice? And there is the neighbor right there looking out over it. And how would you know that that wouldn't be the case from so many of the neighbors in that area, right? There's just so many opportunities to see into that area from so many different kind of vantage points. Do you see what I'm saying? So what you effectively got to imagine is the exit point from the home. So what is it? Is it the kitchen door? And so then from there onto the balcony area where he barbecued the previous evening, right? And then down those stairs, right? And then across the lawn, and then to the boundary fence, I guess, and then over that, and then kind of across that walkway to a vehicle. Now, is that a better option than that small little area in front of the garage, in the front area? Is that a better option in terms of being somewhat concealed, right? Now, certainly the camera is creating a problem for him, but I think he probably overestimated the trees giving him cover, and possibly even just also his truck and the cover of night, right? I think the other thing you've just got to imagine is the length of time Watts is sort of running around up and down his driveway. So if you say that he wasn't actually, that somebody else, in other words, that the statement is true, that Shanann was taken out the back, right? If you say that that is true, then are you saying that he was running around the driveway doing nothing just to create a distraction? Or was he actually legitimately kind of walking around the driveway loading bodies? Was he actually doing that? And I know from my own research covering the Trinastich video, there does seem to be a shadow that looks like him moving in reverse in a rapid fashion, as though he is putting something behind him. I've certainly noticed that. And so I think it's possible. I think it is possible.
And like I said, we're going to go over that Nate Trinistich's security camera video footage. And I think I know what he's talking about there. Again, I enhanced it, made it close up, slowed some of it down. So we can take a look at all of this, these things that people theorize about.
That and probable that that was the side of the house that he chose to do what he was doing. What do you guys think? I mean, if you were Chris Watts, and I don't mean to try and teach you how to be a criminal, but to get into the criminal mind, if you were Chris Watts, which would be the better, the safer, the more practical option for you in terms of distance, in terms of being visible, in terms of also the camera? What do you think would have been the best option? As far as I'm concerned, obviously it's easy to say in hindsight, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't know why I didn't just go to a little bit of extra effort and clean out the garage and back his truck further into the garage so that all that running around on the actual driveway wouldn't be necessary. So, and it wouldn't have been difficult to do. You could have just parked Shanann's car more to the one side, probably, and moved some of the contents of the garage away, and that way he could have, concealed what he was doing. Does that make sense? I don't think it's true crime rocket science just to say when we deal with certain information, we need to visualize it, we need to imagine it, we need to think about it critically. And that's really what true crime offers us. It offers us the option to think about things rationally, critically, and kind of come up with our own version of events that is based on kind of logic. And I won't say science necessarily, but to some extent it's rooted in logic and to some extent reality. That's what we really want to do. We don't want to take what someone says at face value. We want to see something as likely or not. And we take that from true crime into our daily lives, right? I mean, at the end of the day, what are we trying to do? We're trying to think, we're trying to improve our thinking, we're trying to improve our problem solving. And a big part of that is visualizing. Can you see it? And does what you see make sense in a particular scenario versus another scenario? Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right, just 1 minute here. I was just, hold up. Okay, sit down. Okay, so I was just, here, hold it. I'm putting a link. I made a video about that insurance money. I'm putting the link to that video right now in the description, or if people are interested, we can watch it at the end of this video, when we're talking about the topic at hand. So, you said something about the insurance money there. Let me see. Well, let me pin these comments here. Hold it. All right. I have a whole bunch of pinned comments. Whoa! One thing at a time. And when I get to that comment, I will address that question. Okay. So let's see. So again, Cuff You, thank you for becoming a member. That's awesome. Welcome. Now, Sherry K says, Jim could have been waiting on the main road while Nicole Kessinger was right there near the Watts house. There were no cameras in the back and nobody was living in those houses in the back. And that's true. Although, he was just talking about the line of sight. If you did take somebody out of the back, there was a pretty open line of sight from every which direction. But at that time of the morning, there wouldn't have really been any people around because those houses were not inhabited at those points. They were they had just been built. They had just been finished with construction, or they were still under construction, or they were just breaking ground. So really good point. Brandon Bassett says, I wish that the forensics could have been more thorough and investigated the basement windows. Damn, me too. Well, we know just in the Watts truck, even though one of the dogs indicated right outside of the Watts truck, they didn't bother to get a search warrant from Anandarko to actually open the damn door of the truck and go in there. And the evidence that they did collect from inside the Watts truck was refused for analysis. On September 6th, less than 1 month after this crime happened by none other than the Colorado Bureau of Investigations. That's a fact. I made a video about that too. Just search What's the Obsession, Chris Watts work truck, and you'll find it. Cuffew says, I just don't see him struggling at all. Nate's video, and she could have been not have been easy to carry or drag. I don't mean to be disrespectful. So in just a minute, again, we're going to take a look at that Nate security camera footage, and I broke down some things for you. We'll take a look and see what we see. All right, next we have Robin. Robin, welcome. Robin, let's see. I got to make this bigger. Robin Watterson, no relation to the Watts, right? Welcome. I agree they took her out the back in Nikki's truck. She sold her truck right away, and no one ever found that truck to test. Yeah, and even if they did find it, who knows if they would have tested, because as I said, they didn't even bother to complete the analysis of the evidence collected from Chris Watts' work truck. Krista 23 says, well, she'll fit in the back, in that back cab area, but it doesn't mean that she went there, that he put her there. And that's a great point. I was going to say that earlier when we were kind of discussing this. As our oil field expert said, who knows those trucks really well, and some of you don't agree, some of you do agree, but the expert said that yes, Shanann would have fit in the back of that truck. But even if she could fit, even if we did, the best possible experiment test possible to see if a person of that size could fit in the back like that, that does not mean that that's where she was placed and that's where her remains laid on that drive from from Saratoga Trail to Survey 319. Really great point. Gianna Marie says, it looked like he lifted her from the shoulders and dragged her and pulled her from the other side of the truck. Now, Gianna, I said to you in chat, that is what I think I see. And I pointed that out for you in the video that we are about to watch. And then at the end, I slowed it down and really enhanced it. What I see, and I'm not 100% on this, okay, but is him walking backwards from the house to the truck and holding her in like a reverse fireman's carry, like his arms under her armpits. And then, some people speculate that maybe her feet would be up on like the girl's wagon or something. I'm not sure about that, but that's as close as I can get to coming to a theory on that. If she did go out the front, and I don't know. Veronica, welcome. It's great to see you. Said, I truly think she was taken out the back by the Skanky Empanada truck. So in case you don't know, the Skanky Empanada is, of course, Chris Watts' former mistress, Nicole Kessinger. Skanky Empanada, you heard it here first. Okay, now let me see if I can work out this name here. So it is, oops, sorry, I didn't switch it yet. Let me go back down to my start comments. Ed Hardy, I'm just going to, Ed Hardy chick, is that close enough? I think so. Good day from South Africa. Welcome. It's all the way from South Africa. I'm so glad you're here. I'm curious, when did Chris take out the life insurance policies on his family? $450,000, something I heard that Shanann didn't know about the policies. I did a whole video on that. And again, if you guys are interested in that, it's only 10 or 11 minutes long. We can watch it at the end. But if you guys don't want to watch it, Ed Hardy chick, I hope I'm saying your name right. I put a link to that video in the description, okay? So that's there for you. Okay, so let me just go back to the live comments here. And all right. So what I'm going to do right now is bring in that video that I made. And oh, hey, Andrea W., welcome. I never thought about a wagon that would have helped with the weight struggling. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that earlier. It was somebody in chat who brought that up recently. I thought, oh, well, that's kind of a smart idea. So, and Susan Peterson says, as far as what I just described, Kelly, that's what I see as well. All right, so let's take a look at that video. Let's see, I just cooked up this video. Let's see, monetization off, next. Let me just get to it here. Okay, it's all ready for us. Nice. All right, now let me explain. Okay, after the opening scene, what I did in this video was I put the timestamp. So if you, oops, hold it. So there is a video, and I have to find the link to this video in its entirety too. And it's somebody who took out all of the like overlays of time because of the way that, Nate's security camera footage cycled. Let me find that really quick. I don't want to forget. I want to give this person credit, and I want you to be able to go there as well. Hold it. Let me just grab it super quick. Everyone, please bear with me. Again, I'm going to put the link in the description. It is from the channel called Lucy Harrelson, and it says accurate footage. Chris Watts neighbors surveillance camera. Okay, so let me just grab that link, copy, paste, and then let me just pop it in the, bear with me just one moment, please. I'm just going to pop it in the description so you know where to go to find it. And you'll see why that's really important in just a second. The way that I did like kind of timestamp marks for you guys. Okay. So hold on. Let me just pop it in the description of this video, of this live stream. So again, I think it's the best video out there. Let's see. Nate's, I'm just going to call it Nate's Cam for now. And then I'm going to link that video. Fine. There you go. Okay. Because, all right, let me bring it in here. So I'm going to explain it as we're looking at it. Yeah, I think this is it. Okay, so this is the one that I made. Okay. So listen. So after the initial part where we see the person walking out, we're just going to look at that. I put these markers of time. Like the first one is 16 minutes and 36 seconds. So what that means is that is 16 minutes and 36 seconds into that whole long video that puts everything together. Does that make sense? But, you know, the whole thing is like 50 minutes or something like that. So I don't want to watch that whole 50 minutes of like just like dead air time. So I just found the meaty stuff and cut out the fat. Hey, Beck, thank you for becoming a member. That's awesome. Welcome. And thank you. I'm so glad that you're here in the chat. All right. So those timestamps that you're going to see on the screen right here, if you were to go to the video I linked in chat from Lucy Harrelson, who put the whole video together, that's where you're going to find that footage. Does that make sense? Tell me it makes sense. Hey, Giannis, shalom, shalom. Welcome. So glad to have you here. Okay. All right. So all right. So here we go. So this is what we see. So in the very beginning, we just see that there is a whole lot of time before we actually see this figure walk out of the garage, which is really weird. So that raises the question, what exactly was it that triggered Nate, neighbor Nate, security camera in the first place? Because this is named off camera. The camera is activated by a motion trigger. So it's motion that starts the camera recording. But all of this things here right now, before we see the person walking out, Nate's camera was recording. So that lets us know that there was activity for a few minutes before we see that people walking out of the garage, that people today, is it Nicole Kessinger, is it Chris Watts, somebody else, something had triggered Nate to start recording for this amount of time that we see right here. And it's not more than I was thinking of it. And I was just watching it again today, and I went back to it. My audio's cutting in and out. Here, let me move this. Is that better? Let me know how my audio is. We're just watching and waiting for this person to come out. It's hard to hear me. What? Can you hear me now? I don't know why that is. It's better? All right, let me know if you can hear me again. We're just waiting for this person to walk out. It's better? Okay. All right. So I just muted the background video because all it is kind of like some eerie music. Okay, thank you, Mrs. P, Pepper, Sherry, everybody. Let's see, this person says, Michelle Clifford, they programmed Chris Watts. Listen past video, how many times he says the word like. Oh yeah, I know, right? It's kind of crazy. I know. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys. Okay, good. Awesome. I don't know why that happened. I'm sorry. So still, we're waiting for this person to walk out here. Oh, I think I know why. I was on, I get it. Okay. I was clicked on, I think I know why. I don't need to explain to you though. Thank you guys. I appreciate all that feedback. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me see. When I click over, I'm going to not talk. Okay, so nope, there it is. So now we see that person walking out. You know, we saw the lights turn on before, okay? And then that person is walking out to the car. And now we're just going to see the car moving towards the driveway and then backing in as it does. Hey, Anna Orlando says, this is great video. I seen this years ago. Yeah, I know, right? I haven't watched it in so long, like the way I did today. Because again, I broke it down and you guys, you'll see. So again, guys, the timestamps that you're going to see appear on the video, they're for 12 seconds each. And this was, I partly did that so I could see when I broke it up, when I need to go to the next scene. It corresponds to the full put together video of Nate Trinistech's security camera footage without overlaps. And I've linked that for you in the description. Okay, so I just cut out the fat where there's just nothing happening essentially. Okay. All right, so I have my little notes here because then I had to, you know, sync up the times of this. You don't want to know. It got complicated. I got confused, man. All right. Okay, so now we're going to see. All right, so here's an example. It's coming up. Okay, so 1636. So I hopped forward from, you know, when we saw that person walking out of the garage and the truck backing in to the time 1636 when you go to that linked video in the description of the whole thing put together of that video. And shortly after that, we're going to see some stuff happening and it's going to be explained in the notes, and verbally I will explain more. Okay. Okay. So again, each of these is 12 seconds. I just press play again. Just bear with me. All right. So we're 16 minutes and 36 seconds into the video. Okay. So you see there's nothing really happening right now. 16 minutes and 40 some seconds into the video. Okay. All right. So now we are at 17 minutes and 1 second into that full video. And we see Chris going from the house to the truck. So let's see what that looks like. We see Chris walking from the house to the truck. And God, I pray that these sync up the way that I want them to. I didn't watch it beforehand. It will, though. It might be like a few seconds off, but. Come on, Chris. I'm walking from the house to the truck, dude. He's coming. Don't you worry. There we go. Okay. So now at 17 minutes and 11 seconds into the full length video, we see after he's walked from the house to the truck, we see some human movement around the back door. And then we see some interior lights turn on. So let's watch that happen. Okay. So we're 17 minutes and 11 seconds into the full video that's linked in the description below. And we're going to see this. So movement around the back door and the interior lights turn on. Okay. Ta-da. Okay. Now he's going to walk from the truck back to the house. Okay. Assuming it's him. I believe it's him here. 17 minutes and 17 seconds. He's walking from the truck back to the house. Okay, now this is a big deal part. 17 minutes and 33 seconds. A shadow appears and goes from the house to the truck. Is this it? And when I ask, is this it? What I mean is, could this possibly, and I'm not saying it is for sure, I'm asking you, I want your opinion. Is this where Chris is, what I see is him walking backwards, maybe bringing Shanann like in a reverse fireman's carry, like with his arms under her armpits, back towards the truck. Now, at the end of this, we're going to look at it more enhanced and slow down, but let's just get through this now. Is this Chris walking backwards from the house to the truck, maybe holding Shanann in a reverse fireman's carry? Here comes the shadow. Okay, you see how his head's kind of bopping up and down there? Like he's like dragging. Do you guys see that? Let me just go back a couple seconds there, okay? Yeah. Do you see that? Do you guys all see that? Let me go to chat for a minute. Do you see what I'm talking about? Justice A through Z says, hey, sweetheart, how are you? What's the obsession? True crime. Are you seriously chanting Shanann Watts tonight? Not even kidding. What are you talking about? Why? Why'd you ask that? I've been thinking about Shanann a lot. Okay, so you guys, Beach Bum says, interesting. Susan says, yes, I see it. Sherry says, I see. Valerie gives me an amen. Let's see. And Beach Bum says, yes, I see it. So let me just go back just a couple seconds again. Then we're going to continue on. And again, I slow it down and enhance it at the end of this video, okay? So here we are again at 17 minutes and 33 seconds into the whole put together video that I linked in the description. That's what that time stamp means. I just cut out the nothing's happening parts. So this is where I think he's possibly walking backwards. Okay, so now what happens after this? Let's keep watching. So he's brought maybe her back to the truck. Now I'm going to tell you there's 40 seconds where he's just over there by the side of the truck, okay? By the side of the truck, by the driver's side of the truck. And then you're going to see what happens next. Consult my notes. Yeah. Yep. We're right. I'm right. So this is just 40. So what is he doing there? He's just on that maybe what could have been walking backwards, reverse fireman's carry, bringing Shanann to the truck. I'm just saying theoretically, let's just pretend. Now, oh, so then you saw a door open, closed. You saw that extra light go on, right? That was 40 seconds after he had perhaps walked backwards towards a truck. So what was he doing? Okay, we've got another thing coming up here in a minute. Okay, so and then at 8:40, those then additional lights fade off. So he did that perhaps walking backwards towards a truck, maybe with Shanann for 40 seconds. He was just milling around the truck. That one light went on, the additional light, and then the additional light fades off at 18 minutes and 40 seconds of the whole put together video of Nate Trinisich's security camera footage is linked in the description below. Wait. I missed a key word. Where? Wait, hold it. So Justice says, not asking, telling. You missed a key word. And what's the obsession? Is it in the title? Is that what you mean? Help me out. Okay. So now I went through a little bit of time there again, because I just cut out the nothing's happening time. So now we're at 23 minutes and 56 seconds. And then this is the next time he goes from the house to the truck. So he did that, you know, if it was Shanann he was bringing to the truck, that was at 18 minutes, about right around 18 minutes. So now a whole like 8 minutes passes by, and then he does his next trip. going to be an approximate, but it's there. So there he goes, hobbling back over to the truck. Lights turn on, so he's opening doors. Oh, okay, so now, whoops. So now, okay, so now at 24 minutes and 45 seconds, we're going to see him over on the other side of the truck. So there's several times when we see him over on the passenger side of the truck, which I think is important. If he did put Shanann in the truck, and I'm not saying he did, but if he did, we see him milling around on the passenger side several times. Including this time right here. Now he comes out right away with that gas can. I did a whole video on this. There's no way he could have just gotten that gas can without bending down or something. There's nothing there that could have been holding a gas can. This is because I believe somebody handed it to him. I did a whole video on that. Yes, and guys, please hit the like. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Then he went around to the other side. Let's see where we are. Okay, now here at 26 minutes and 34 seconds, he goes from the house to the truck. Lights go on again. He goes to the passenger side again and spends some time. So there again, he goes around the driver's side, but then you see him, okay, the lights turn on. And now you see him come around to the passenger side again. So he was in the, did you just see that there? He had just shut one of the passenger doors. Okay, let me just go back a little bit. There you go. He clearly shuts a passenger door. So he had a cab door open for sure. Right here. You see him shut it. Okay. So, all right. So I'm not sure what, we have like a minute here. I don't have any notes. So let's just see what happens. And then we're also going to see where that shadow comes out that people believe is Bella, that I believe is Bella. We're going to see that in just a little bit here. So again, the timestamps that appear up on the screen here in this video that I made correspond with a whole put together video from Lucy Harrelson's channel that I've linked in the description box below, along with other videos that I credited, that I played here, and my What Happened in the Watts Basement video that I started out with a little tiny excerpt of, which is my core theory of what happened. It's what I believe I know happened on that night. And I'm building from there. And I'll get to your comments after this. I just don't want to obscure the video that's already hard to see. I know you guys are making great points here. Okay, I've got another note coming up. I can't remember what it is, but we're going to find out together. Okay, so now at 28 minutes and 26 seconds, and that is into that full length put together video from Lucy Harrelson that's linked in the description below. He goes from the house to the truck. The lights in the truck go on again. And again, he goes to the passenger side. Let's watch it. Hey, Pokemon, leave Jim alone. Just leave Jim alone. So here he goes again around to the passenger side. You see he just opened the passenger door. You all probably can see that, right? The passenger door, I believe, is open right now. He's in the passenger side. Now he's going back into the house. He does spend a lot of time over on that passenger side in the cab door. He just does. All right. All right, 20 seconds. I have another note coming up. You can see now it's starting to get a little bit light out, right? So this would be around getting closer to 6 o'clock. I'm not sure. I can't do that math right now. So now at 29 minutes and 30 seconds, and again, that is relating to the full length put together Nate Trinisich's security camera footage video from Lucy Harrelson's channel, link below. 29 minutes and 30 seconds, we see Chris walking out again. Light turns on, cab light, headlight. Now, at 29 minutes and 52 seconds in the full-length put-together video on Lucy Harrelson's channel, linked below, Bella's shadow perhaps appears under the truck. Look, Chris bends down, picks up the child, and goes to the truck. It's hard. I know. So you see the shadow comes out, he bends down, picks her up. For those of you that haven't seen that clearly before, let me just go back a minute or a few seconds. Shadow comes out, Chris appears, bends down, picks her up, puts her in the truck. I feel like there's no doubt about that. What do you guys think? I think that is what happened. I think that Justice A through Z says, I think the girls were already expired. I think CC was. Well, you know, that's what I think. And again, that's all laid out in my What Happened in the Watts Basement video. But I mean, I think Bella was not. I think right there, to me, really proves it. Yeah. So now after we see, I'll show you again that shadow coming out. He picks up the shadow, I believe is Bella. There we go. So again, that's 29:52 seconds on the full-length video, link below from Lucy Harrelson's channel. So here in a moment, we're going to see the shadow appear from the houseway. Chris appears, picks up the child, puts the child in the truck. So now this is just, you know, the real time of the video playing out for the next 4 minutes. I mean, we could watch it if we wanted to. He does another couple trips, and then he leaves. Anna Orlando says he picked up a child. I say Bella. Yeah. Yeah, Beach Bum. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tony, I think so too. Nuckin Farts thinks the same. Oh, is Justice A through Z. Seriously says, if you can see door handle in the back doors, it's a crew cab, not an extended cab. Extended cab, the door handles are hidden, actually. Huh. Hi, Cheryl. How you doing? And Orlando says there's all those houses in the neighborhood and they only have video from Nate's. Oh, I know. They have to have security camera from other houses. I agree. Thankfully, strange that no one else has Chris Watts driving out the neighborhood. Oh, yeah, they do. They're just pretending they don't. I don't believe that for a hot second. Matt said, good question. A Pokemon. What was the question? Can somebody remind me what time in the morning this was? Yeah, let me find that for you exactly. Hold it. I've got it. You guys just keep watching this out for next couple minutes, and I'm going to find that for you exactly. You ask, I answer. Just give me a second here. I know it's in the live stream where we had the oil field expert on. Let me just find it real quick. Okay. I feel like 5:23. Let's see. Oh, let's see here. So let me mute it. Hold it. I have it all laid out here. Hold it. Let's see. Sorry, my kid's being loud, but that's just what he does sometimes. All right. Let's see. There's the weather. Oh my God, hold it. I gotta go tell my kid to quiet down. Hold it. I don't want to yell. Let's see. Hold it. Hold it. Do you hear him cracking up? You know what? I actually don't know where in this it was because we started talking about. Let me find it in the. I'll find it in the discovery here. Just a second. Okay, hold it. Let's see. Where are we on this? Oh, did that stop yet? Okay, hold it. Let me get the discovery up. All right. All right. So I'm just looking for again the exact times of when this was. Let me see where we are in this video. Okay, so again, this is just after Chris left. Okay, so that's kind of boring. Just bear with me for a second. I'll be able to find it real quick. Actually, you know what? I'm going to come back to that. So let's go to the end of this video because I slowed down that, that little scene where I think it could possibly be in Chris Watts walking out backwards to the truck. Let's see. That's at 18. Can't read my own handwriting. 1835, it looks like. Oh, yeah, maybe. Okay, yeah. So where it goes from kind of light to dark. Okay. All right. So this is the end of after he had pulled out of the drive. Okay. So this is a slowed down version of where I think it's possible that Chris Watts might be walking backwards, possibly doing that kind of like reverse fireman's carry, walking to his truck. Okay. So let's just watch this slow down a little bit. Okay, so you see the shadow appearing under the truck. So now the figure from the house is, I kind of have to back up a little bit so it looks right. If you're too close, it's like, so there, his head's kind of like bopping up and down, like he's like kind of like dragging something. This is just what I see. And then he goes right to the truck. And then as we know, he spends 40 seconds there, just, you know, messing around in the truck. The light goes on, and then he comes around to the passenger side as we saw before. Now I have it really slowed down here. So this is it really, really slowed down. And again, don't get too close to your screen. So this is really slowed down. So you see the shadow under the truck. And then you see the head appear. And I feel like he's like, you know, kind of like his head's like going up and down, like he's step and pulling, like there's some effort there. I just think this is possible. And then in the next frame, it's going to be that same slow down frame, but just with the image sharpened. Okay, so now we have the image sharpened. So you're going to be looking for the shadow. There we go. Sharpened image coming from the house. So perhaps that's Chris coming from the house, walking backwards towards the front of the truck. You see the shadow underneath. And then you'll see his head come into the frame. Here. And again, I feel like when he's just walking out, it's like the line of his head is like smooth. He just walks out. But here it's like his head is like bopping up and down, like he's taking a step of effort, you know, like this is just what I see. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but you know, I'll just kind of keep playing this and let me just take some of your comments and questions here. Oh boy, there's a lot of them. All right, let's see. Let's see, where do I start? Let's see. So yeah, Anna said he picked up a child. I say Bella. Yeah. So, and again, yeah, Cece was gone. Yeah, I agree with that. So sad. I know, Valerie, it is so sad. Let's see. Justice A through Z says Frankie said he saw a video of them carried out the front in garbage bags. I don't think he really saw that though. I think that's kind of what the district did. Remember, the district attorney told the family a whole lot of things before Chris was charged by the judge that weren't necessarily true, right? Oh, Kylie says, I hate that Chris Watts is in driving distance of me. Same with Sherry. Are you in that? You're in that area too? Pokemon says that truck doesn't have door. My truck, oh, your truck doesn't have doors. Okay. Molly Click, look, I'm sorry, honey. McClure says NK was there at 6 a.m. Well, we know her ping was at 6:16 a.m. Oh, there we go. There she maybe goes. Gary says, welcome, Gary. Chris admitted Bella was alive on the drive there. So that shadow is correct. Yeah. And I think, you know, the way I always say to you guys, it's so hard to think about, guys. I'm so sorry. But the way that Chris talks about what he did to Bella and what happened to Bella and his memories of Bella when he's interviewed from the prison, it's the only time that he gets emotional. And he lies so much. You know, to me, his tells of truth are his show of emotion. And notice, even though Cece was his favorite child, he himself says they had a closer relationship. He barely talks about Cece when talking about that morning or the car ride or anything. Doesn't give details, doesn't get really emotional about her. I think because she was already gone. We all know if Cece could take a breath, she would have been, you know, like a rampage, like they called her on that whole truck ride from 2825 Saratoga Trail to Survey 319, don't you think? Kelly's going to bring down the law or low again. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It comforts me to think of him in prison. Oh my God. Yeah. Let's see. Angie 170 says, what if NK was riding in the front and had the girls on her lap and SW was in the back? Possible. You know what? And if they had actually analyzed the evidence that was collected from Chris Watts' work truck, guess what? They would have known the answers to those questions definitively. But you know why they didn't analyze that evidence that was collected? They didn't want us to know the answers to those questions. Glad you said that. Y'all, if you want to, you can contact Casey Anthony through Substack for legal advice. You can do that. Did you know? Good call. Good call. The post office prints. Good call. Oh, laughing at the kids in the background here. Is that what you're talking about? I know. Yeah, that is sorry. That's my teenage boy. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad that you guys are just laughing and not upset by it. Yeah, my son can be so loud with his buddies too, as y'all hear. Seriously says there is plenty of room on the floor in that back because Chris's 2500 HD pickup truck is a crew cab. Well, that's what our oil field, you know, geotab truck expert said as well. Tony says, I think part of the time he was trying to get Dieter back in the house, possibly. That's a good call, Tony. That is very possible. JR Welcome says, if Chris didn't have the balls to step up to his mom, He didn't have the balls to end them. NK orchestrated everything. Well, I do believe she certainly did orchestrate everything. Hey, Jody from Arizona, welcome. Nice to see you. Nice to have you here. Let me just go back. So there's something playing while we're chatting here. Let's see. Anna says to anaphylaxis, hi, remember when Armchair Detective would do this? He had good theories. How have you been? Oh, yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I've been thinking about him a lot lately. Oh, yeah, because we heard about, anyway, for different reasons. Let's see. Oh, Molly says, I see it and I'm on my phone. I would have never seen it without you prompting it. Oh my God, I think you may have it. Are you talking about him walking backwards and dragging her in the reverse fireman's carry? Angie 170 says, I don't think Chris would drag her out the front. Too risky of being seen. And that is a good point, Angie. But wait, you know what? I'm just going to go back and play a little bit of the video that we played in the beginning for those of you who weren't here from True Crime Rocket Science, because he kind of hits on the potential risks also of taking someone out the back. And again, I do not claim to know what happened here. This is one of the bigger mysteries to me, but he does make some good points. So let me see if I can just get right to the part of the video without his intro and outro that just talk about him, stating some of the risks of taking someone out of the back as well as the front. Yes, there certainly were risks to that, clearly, especially, yeah, clearly. Good point, Angie. All right.
In reality, so
oops.
I want to take you to the back entrance, and it doesn't really get much coverage in the Watts case. And I want you to try and imagine that idea. Shanann was taken out the back, and just imagine it actually happening. And what I want to show you is just how unrealistic that is. And what I want you to do here isn't to attack another creator. It's just to activate your discernment where...
Oh, damn. Such a good question, though. I just have to read this. Who is more evil, Chris Watts or Charlie Adelson? I cannot wait for the Donald Adelson trial. I cannot wait for the Donna Adelson trial. We're talking tragic murder of Dan Merkel. What was it? 10 years ago now, almost, right? And so now, the two people that were actually there at the time of the murder. Oh God, why can't I think of their names? Garcia and oh my God. The guy that's one of the big wigs in the Latin Kings. I can't think of her for some reason. And then the girlfriend, they're all spending the rest of their life in jail. Charlie Adelson, the brother, who was apparently involved in ordering this hit. And now mom, Donna Adelson, who is 78 years old, her trial is coming up and it looks like she is screwed. And part of me feels bad for her, but part of me also thinks that she just wanted that man gone for selfish reasons. Okay, I'm going to stay on topic. I see people are leaving, but yeah. Who's more evil, guys? Charlie Adelson or Chris Watts?
Somebody says something, and what I want you to do is just think about it. Think about it, look at the information we have, look at the visuals we have, and try to imagine it. And then ask yourself, is that realistic? And so we're going to look at the footage from the back garden area. And we're also going to look at some of the body cam from Officer Coonrod's camera, and just get a sense of how realistic is it, this whole idea that Shanann was taken out the back. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do like, share, leave a comment, and let's get started. So I think this video, in fact, the pictures and the footage is really self-explanatory. I don't think you need to hear my voice at all, but I'm going to narrate it regardless. The point that I just want to make is just how exposed that entire back area is. It's exposed in terms of, if you're looking directly at it from the road, in other words, from the front, it's exposed from the left and the right-hand side, where you have neighbors, kind of a story up that can actually look down in the area. And of course, it's exposed for a very long way to either side, beyond the neighbors, right? Now, you might say, no, it would make sense to go on that side because there's no camera on that side. And so why wouldn't Chris Watts, allow for that to happen? And there are kind of two arguments against it. For me, the one argument is if you've got the option of the cover, in other words, of the garage and the trees to some extent, and him using his own vehicle, why wouldn't you use that? Because what you have here is basically the idea of someone carrying someone across the entire back garden, that entire flat space. There's no cover, and then I guess lifting what you're holding over the boundary fence and then carrying it to the vehicle that's parked there. Isn't that going to sort of raise suspicion? Now, if you go through Officer Coonrod's body cam, you basically see him walking around the side of the house. You can see, so you've also got to ask, how would they transport her? Would it be around the side? I don't think so. Or through the sort of front area, where the kitchen entrance is. That doesn't make sense either because that's elevated. And look at the view, just how exposed that is from so far away. Look at the line of sight, how far it goes in so many different directions. Do you notice? And there is the neighbor right there looking out over it. And how would you know that that wouldn't be the case from so many of the neighbors in that area, right? There's just so many opportunities to see into that area from so many different kind of vantage points. Do you see what I'm saying? So what you effectively got to imagine is the exit point from the home. So what is it? Is it the kitchen door? And so then from there onto the balcony area where he barbecued the previous evening, right? And then down those stairs, right? And then across the lawn, and then to the boundary fence, I guess, and then over that, and then kind of across that walkway to a vehicle. Now, is that a better option than that small little area in front of the garage, in the front area? Is that a better option in terms of being somewhat concealed, right? Now, certainly the camera is creating a problem for him, but I think he probably overestimated the trees giving him cover, and possibly even just also his truck and the cover of night, right? I think the other thing you've just got to imagine is the length of time Watts is sort of running around up and down his driveway. So if you say that he wasn't actually, that somebody else, in other words, that the statement is true, that Shanann was taken out the back, right? If you say that that is true, then are you saying that he was running around the driveway doing nothing just to create a distraction? Or was he actually legitimately kind of walking around the driveway loading bodies? Was he actually doing that? And I know from my own research covering the Trinastich video, there does seem to be a shadow that looks like him moving in reverse in a rapid fashion, as though he is pulling something behind him. I've certainly noticed that. And so I think it's possible. I think it is possible that, and probable, that that was the side of the house that he chose to do what he was doing. What do you guys think? I mean, if you were Chris Watts, and I don't mean to try and teach you how to be a criminal, but to get into the criminal mind, if you were Chris Watts, which would be the better, the safer, the more practical option for you in terms of distance, in terms of being visible, in terms of also the camera? What do you think would have been the best option? As far as I'm concerned, obviously it's easy to say in hindsight, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't know why I didn't just go to a little bit of extra effort and clean out the garage and back his truck further into the garage so that all that running around on the actual driveway wouldn't be necessary. So, and it wouldn't have been difficult to do. He could have just parked Shanann's car more to the one side, probably, and moved some of the contents of the garage away. And that way,
I don't know. I think that gets a little convoluted. But you guys are talking about the tracks, and there actually is a picture in this video here where you can kind of see the tracks. You see, let me turn off the sound here. You see right there. Let me go back a little bit. So he's going to kind of just go by it. If I press pause, it's going to minimize the view of it. So right after the first picture that fades in here, you see the tracks right there at the like left hand bottom side of the screen here. So like those are those tracks. Yeah, so let's see. Let me grab some of your yeah, I started a couple more comments here. Let's see what we got. So yeah, Angie said there are tracks by the back fence also. Yeah, and I think we're getting a certain view of them there. There's another picture somewhere of them as well. And then Michelle G says, why was there hair in the watch truck? That's a great question, Michelle G. And as we were talking about before, all of this evidence was collected out of Chris Watts' work truck. And when people say that, you know, the investigation stopped when he pled, that was on November 6th, but it was all the way back till September 6th, less than 1 month after this crime happened. The CBI is in the discovery. I've made a couple videos about it. You know, in a letter to Dave Baumhover, refused to analyze the evidence that was collected from Chris Watts' work truck, and it would have included those hairs and trace lifts. And that to me is crazy and scandalous. Really, it's scandalous. Let's see. In Spare Time says, I also believe CC perished in the house. And yeah, one of the videos I have linked in the description, What Happened in the Watts Basement, talks all about that. Brandon says she may have been extricated from the house via the basement window where the satellite dish is. That's possible. Let's see. Yeah, so I mean, these are the questions surrounding, was Shanann taken out the back? And I mean, I don't think we have any definitive answers, but just one more time, let me just show you that portion of that Nate security camera video footage. I'll show you that kind of slowed down and slightly enhanced part. Again, I did this just earlier today. It's not like the best work I could have done in enhancing it and all that jazz, but I did what I could, you know, for you to satisfy the need of the discussion at least. So let me bring that in, get rid of the comments. No offense, but just so we can all see. Go back to where day turns to night again. There it is. Okay. So the first frame, it's going to be slightly slowed down. And again, what you're imagining is Chris Watts walking backwards from the house to the cab of the truck in like a reverse fireman's carry, like his arm under Shanann's armpits. You see, when he's just walking back and forth to the house, you see the line of his head just stays in a straight line. But in this one frame where I think he might be walking backwards to the truck, his head is bopping up and down like a step of effort, of effort, of effort. So see if you can see it here. And then in the next frame, I slowed down even more. And then the next frame, it slowed down as much as I could, plus sharp and enhanced. So see what you see here. Let me make it bigger. Okay, so you'll see him coming. First, you'll see the shadow under the truck. You'll see him. That's how you'll see him coming into the frame. Hey, Annie Ruler from San Felipe, Mexico. Welcome. Nice to see you. It's coming. Okay, here. So you see the shadow starting to come in from under the truck. And then again, if I have to like sit back away from my screen a little bit to see this happening. And then you'll see his head come into the frame, like past that light. And again, it's like his head is kind of bopping up and down, which I feel like is a step of effort, maybe. And then he goes to the back cab, driver's side door. After that, for 40 seconds, he's just milling around back there. The lights turn on. I went over this earlier in the video if you are just coming in. And then he goes around to the passenger side. And we also noted that successively after this, he goes over to the passenger side and is screwing around over there 4 or 5 times. Okay, so now this is where it sharpened and slowed way down. Okay, so watch. You see the shadow coming into scene here. So is he walking backwards from the house to the cab of the truck? That is the question. Or did he take her out the back door? Because if he took her out the front, I think this is where it had to have happened. Now you see his little peanut head coming into frame, and he's, instead of going a straight line, it's like bopping up and down, which I feel like is like effort. Like he's taking an efforted step, an efforted step, an efforted step. And again, I'm going to work on this and make it better. But again, just doing this really quickly today for the purpose of tonight's live stream. That's what I've got for you. So yeah, so that's what I've got for you for right now. Let's see. Let me go to comments. Way longer than 40 seconds. He was like around, maybe it was. Amanda Hughes says he could never get her in that truck. I don't know if he could or not. I think that, we had that oil field geotab truck expert on a few weeks ago. That live stream is up. Everybody who watched it really found it to be very informative. And he says she definitely could have fit in the back of the truck. But again, we said earlier, just because she could have fit doesn't mean that's where she went. Veronica says people give Chris Watts too much credit. Annie says, why won't they pursue NK? Oh, that's such a big question. Watch my ultimatum and bombshell videos. Yeah, see, Michelle G, you're right. Sandy did say all that hair. That's right. There was a lot of hair in the back of the truck. That's right. You're right. You're absolutely right, Michelle. Thank you. It would have taken longer. Sorry, that's what I meant. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, he went around to the other side. Again, go back and watch this live stream. I played it a few times. He went around to the passenger side like 4 or 5 times. We showed it, okay? Spare Time says, no way by moving 150 pounds of dead weight without noticeable struggle. Tony says, I think someone else took Shanann out the back and Chris Watts had help to get the girls in the truck. Angie says, I wonder why Shanann Watts' mom asked, did you check the knives? Yeah, that's a thing too. Cuffy says, oh my God, the NK not being taken down makes me crazy. Yeah. Again, this is something the oil field expert went over when we had him on. Hold on, I got to plug in my computer. Give me a sec here. Why can't I turn my screen off? This is weird. Oh, it doesn't matter if I don't have to turn off my video. Just one second. I just have to get my plug. Who cares? Just one sec. Alrighty, pluggy. There we go. Okay, better. All right. So again, this is something we talked about in that live stream with our oil field geotab expert. Only the front seat has a sensor, and it's basically like he explained, because all of his trucks have had this. It's basically like, like in my front seat, like if my purse is really heavy or if I put something damp in my front seat, the indicator will go off, like saying, like thinking somebody's in the front seat and they need to put on their seatbelt. Ding, 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 ding. It's just a weight sensor like that, and it's only in the front seat. It's not in those back seats. It's not in the back cab area because, as he said, you know, in your work truck, you're putting shit in the back cab area all the time. So there's no weight sensors back there. It wouldn't make sense because they'd be going off, but you need to actually use that space. Hey, Angie Erickson, welcome. How are you doing? It's great to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Honey Bun says he had to pull the seats forward to fit her. Right, exactly. ASAP Lizzie says, welcome, how are you doing? Also, he's probably full of adrenaline. People can do amazing feats in these moments. That is such a good point. That is such a good point. I mean, he was so full of adrenaline. I mean, that is, you know, that's a given. And that is true. People can do amazing feats, just exactly as ASAP Lizzie said. No, Sandy said there was hair in the back of the truck, in the cab area, in the back cab area. Amanda Hughes says NK is innocent. That's why she is not pursued. Veronica says, can't imagine Chris Watts taking Shanann Watts in the front of his home and risk somebody watching him, plus Nate's camera, which he was very aware of, by the way. Yeah, so that's why we just watched again, you know, that True Crime Rocket Science video that talks about, I think he makes a good point. It seems maybe not exactly as many, but he notes, you know, the risks of taking her out the back as far as being seen too, which, you know, I think, you know, just about weigh equal to the risks of taking her out the front. I mean, that's just my opinion, but that's what his video is about. Oh my God. Fun bags. I haven't heard that in a while. Spare Time says NK's dad's truck was seen in the morning and photographed. Shanann went into that truck bed. Possible. I know people do believe that. Wise Old Owl says, why do it in front of Nate's camera? Makes no sense. I mean, yeah, that's a good point too. Brandon asks, could the hair be from Bella pulling her hair? Oh my gosh, in distress. I have never thought of that, Brandon. That is so fucking sad to me because she definitely did do that. I mean, a totally different topic, but I've made videos on that too. That definitely was a stress management reaction she had. Oh God. Tony says, I don't think the girls were a part of the original plan. I don't think they were either. Veronica says, well, if they looked over the case correctly, we wouldn't be having all of these speculations. That's right. Annie Ruler says, was there no cadaver dogs used? There was a search and rescue dog that smelled trauma, like indicators of trauma and stress. And then there was a cadaver dog, 2 of them. And they acted a little differently. They did hit on the basement and also outside of Chris Watts' work truck and also other places where the handler paid no attention to. This was a search and rescue dog that picked up on signs of trauma, like outside of that dumpster where Chris Watts later was found to have stopped for 4 minutes and 10 seconds and admitted that he threw out evidence, but they didn't bother to pay attention to the dog. Yeah, the dog handler. Jane, we love you, but man, why did the cadaver dog not go upstairs? That is such a good question, Cuffy. I don't know the answer to that. I've actually never thought of that. See, this is why it's so great to talk about this stuff with you guys. While Wise Old Bird says, did I say owl earlier? I'm sorry. Out there theory, kids in tank after party, 9 p.m. router, NK sketchy. Where was she on Sunday? That's true. And I also did just upload a video in the past few weeks about, you know, the router information and the, oh my gosh, all these other indicators. Yeah, I don't know. We have just a little more time. I don't know what you guys want what it is you'd like to talk about. Would you like to look at the information about the router? Somebody brought up the insurance money earlier. I've never seen an innocent person lie like the skanky empanada. That's because innocent people don't lie like that, in my opinion, allegedly. Right? Man, yeah, I know. It's crazy stuff. Insurance. All right. So we're going to be switching gears a little bit. So somebody had asked about the insurance money, and I actually had made a video about that. I don't think that person is still here. Are you still here? But you know, it's only like a 10 or 11 minute video. We have a little bit of time. I usually do about, well, I usually go over, but I'm going to keep it at 2 hours tonight. So let me just find it. Where did I put it? I did just grab it. I know I did. Let's see. Here, let me refresh this. My history. And what about that Karen Reed case too? Woo, so many good cases coming up. Jeez. What? I know I just got it. Well, here, let me get, it's in the, I put it in the description of this video. So just one second. Hold it. Let me just grabbing the link for that video. Just give me one moment here. I don't know why it's not showing up on my history. Okay, let me edit video. I think I did. We're gonna find out. Oh, I guess I didn't. Okay, here. Let me just look for. Let me just do a quick search for it. Then I know it comes up in a search because I just did it. All right. All right. So I got to just go to YouTube. Get out of my studio. Oh, I didn't have a chance to paste it. That's what happened. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. So what's the obsession? What's insurance? Here it is. All right. Hold up. Let me bring in the stream. I'm going to put it in the description for the video too, as promised. And this is all about the insurance money. Why can't I hold it? Can't see my proper controls here. There we go. Now we got it. All right. Hi, guys. Thanks for being here. Everyone take a moment and click like. Thank you so much for being here and being part of the conversation tonight. It's been really great and thought-provoking for sure. All right. So I'm going to share this video. And again, this is about the Watts insurance money. So yes, guys, it is all about the money. Follow the money and you will find the answers. First, I want to explain to you the life insurance policy that Chris Watts held. When Chris Watts started working at Anadarko, he did something that people often do when they take a job that offers a benefit package. He enrolled in a life insurance policy. This is not an uncommon practice, and I need to emphasize that fact. The life insurance policy assigned a dollar amount to the lives of each person in Chris Watts' family. And the deal is, of course, if that person passes away, so long as the circumstances surrounding the death are not disqualifying, the policy pays the beneficiary the amount that was assigned under the policy. Under normal circumstances, Chris Watts would be the beneficiary if Shanann, Bella, or Celeste passed away at a young age. And Shanann, his wife, would be the beneficiary if he were to have met an untimely demise. The company holding the policy is Zurich. Zurich is a global company that is respected in its industry. So the policy that's held by the company Zurich assigned a monetary value of $350,000 to Shanann's life and $75,000 to each Bella and Celeste's lives. So when Shanann, Bella, and Celeste all passed away, were all murdered, the policy payout totaled $450,000. So Chris Watts would normally be the beneficiary, but since he was arrested and ultimately pled and confessed and was charged for the murders of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, he was not entitled to any of the money under what's called the Colorado Slayer Law, which says someone who commits a murder, that person cannot benefit monetarily whatsoever because of that murder, whether it's, you know, a book deal or a movie rights deal or an insurance payout. Since Chris Watts could not claim the benefit of the payout, other interested parties, parties related to the family, or parties who are part of the family, made claims to the payout. So first, Frank Rusick made a claim. Frank Rusick, Shanann's father, he made a claim that was on behalf of the estate. Then Sandra Rusick and Frank Rusick each made a claim to the policy as individuals, meaning not on behalf of the state, just as Frank Rusick and Sandra Rusick, person, parent of Shanann Watts. Now, insurance companies stay away from settling legal issues. They understand that there's a policy, a payout is due, and they're willing to pay the policy to whoever the beneficiary should be. But they do not feel that it is their right or obligation or their responsibility to decide the legal issues when there are several claims to a policy. So what they do in that case is they file what's called an interpleader. So what is an interpleader? An interpleader is a tool that's available under the rules of civil. You guys are asking such good questions. Just, I swear, listen to the video. I'm going to answer every single one of them within this video, I promise. Full procedure in all 50 states, the United States, and also federally. Interpleader takes the issue of who will benefit from this policy to a judge, to a court, for them to decide, which really is the appropriate place. So to make things more complicated, Ronnie and Cindy Watts also made a claim to benefit from this policy. So Zurich files a motion with the court, the interpleader, listing each party who made a claim to the policy as defendant. We have, Frank Rusick on behalf of the estate saying, well, of course, the estate should be getting the proceeds of this life insurance policy. We have Sandra Rusick saying, well, I am the mother of Shanann Watts, who, was murdered, who is deceased in this case. So, the proceeds should go to me as her next of kin, since her husband, Chris Watts, cannot receive the monies from this policy under the Colorado Slayer law. And then we have the Watts family saying, well, hey, this was our son's policy. This was our son's policy through Anadarko, through the company at which he worked. He put in these years of hard work that allowed this policy to even exist. So we are making a claim to the policy. We believe we are the people who should be legally entitled to the payout of this policy. It can get pretty complicated, right? I wouldn't want to be the person having to make that decision. And I'm wondering, what do you guys think? If you didn't know what the ruling was of the court, do you think that Shanann's parents should be entitled to the payout from this policy? Or do you think that Chris Watts' family should be entitled to the payout from this policy? I'd love for you to leave a comment and let me know what you think. So this matter didn't go very far in the courts. The first filings go back to June of 2020, and the disbursement of the funds occurred in September of 2020. Now, the filings are a matter of public record, and the matter did settle. The funds, some $450,000, $350,000 for the life of Shanann Watts, $75,000 for each the life of Bella and Celeste Watts, were made payable to the attorneys of the Rusick's trust account for disbursement. In the motion for disbursement, the parties state that they have all settled. Now, I want to emphasize the fact that all of the things that happened, from Chris Watts enrolling in the life insurance policy to the various parties filing a claim to the proceeds of the insurance policy, to the filing of the interpleader, to the settling and the disbursement, this is all very normal stuff. I've heard a lot of different rumors that have been, swirling around about this life insurance policy and the payouts, including from several sources who say, because there was only one defendant, only one person who was accused and was legally held responsible for the murders of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste. That is why the payout went to the Rusiks. That has absolutely nothing to do with anything. The only issue that is at stake regarding, who was charged and who was held legally responsible for the murders of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste would be that Colorado Slayer law saying that whoever that person or persons is or was, they are not entitled to making any money off of the egregious crime that they committed. So I hope that everybody has a better understanding now of how this circumstance played out from Chris Watts initially signing up for a life insurance policy to the interpleader, to the claims for the benefits, and to the disbursement. Now, just to make sure that I was not thinking incorrectly about any of these matters, I interviewed 2 people in human resources department for 2 pretty large companies. And I also interviewed a financial advisor and an estate attorney who deals with these matters. Now, what I learned from the 2 human resources personnel that I interviewed was that their companies both offer life insurance policies as part of the benefits package. And when a person starts working at the company, they are going, in each of these cases, they are going to automatically, this new hire in the company is going to automatically get this life insurance policy. It's not even something that you have to say, yes, I want that, or no, I don't. It's an automatic part of the benefits package, because a benefits package in a company is something that attracts new employees or new hires, because this benefit package that we offer you is going to improve your quality of life and your family's quality of life. And, we care about you so much. This is what the companies are saying to their new employees, that, even if something, untimely and terrible happens to you, we still want to take care of your family. Now, when I talked to the financial advisor and the estate attorney about this matter, they both listened to the circumstances as they happened factually. I showed them the filings that are a matter of public record from the courts, and they thought that things played out completely ordinarily as it would in any other circumstance in any other state. And there's nothing suspicious, weird, or shady about how all of this went down. Now, it should be stated, as I realize I don't think I said so in the body of this video, that the payout did end up going to the Rusik family, the $450,000 payoff from Chris Watts' life insurance policy that covered the lives of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste Watts did go to the Rusik family. And as I said, that was as a matter of normal, not shady or unusual business. Okay, so I did a lot of research on that to find out the answers to those questions, and those were definitively, the answers. Where am I? There I am. Okay, all right. Okay, so next, tagging along with the topic that was at hand today about, did Shanann go out the front or the back? Some people were talking about the issues with the routers and, the phone activity and such. So we're just going to watch a short little 12-minute video on that, and then we will call it a wrap. And everyone, yes, please do be respectful in chat. Please be respectful to the victims, to their family members, and to one another. That's all that we ask, my friends, okay? Thank you. I'm not even sure what's going on. I just see some people asking to be respectful, and I ask that of you as well, okay? Thank you. So many of you know, probably most of you know, about the 6:16 a.m. ping that registered on Chris Watts' mistress's phone, Nicole Kessinger's phone, on August 13th, 2018. That is the morning of the Watts family tragedy. That is the morning when Chris Watts' family was annihilated by himself and perhaps with the help of another. And one of the things that makes many people believe there was help from another is the 6:16 a.m. phone ping from Nicole Kessinger's phone that happened with, according to the experts who have weighed in with What's the Obsession, within under 300 to 400 yards from 2825 Saratoga Trail, the address of the Watts family's residence. And although this is compelling evidence towards the possibility or probability or definitive understanding that Nicole Kessinger was a criminal part of this tragedy, we must remember that 6:16 a.m. phone ping is not the only piece of evidence, even just from the discovery around the time of the murders, that is highly incriminating towards Nicole Kessinger. And at the very least, makes one ask, was anybody else there with Chris Watts when this tragedy happened? Among those pieces of evidence that we can look to and we will cover in this video are the Vivant alerts, the home router's phone log for the Watts family at 2825 Saratoga Trail, and a mysterious vehicle that was captured on neighbor Nate's security camera footage right after the 111-minute phone call between Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger ended. Regarding the Watts family's home router log of devices that connected to it, I'm just going to read through some interesting information, and we're going to give it a little more context when we talk about neighbor Nate's security camera footage in just a moment. So on Sunday, 8/12, the day before the murders, at 12:15 p.m., Chris' personal phone connects to the home router. It does not connect again until 9:45 p.m. And many people say, well, this means Chris Watts didn't get home until 9 p.m., giving evidence in their minds that after he took Bella and Celeste to the birthday party at the Lindstrom's house, he went somewhere else and not just home, perhaps out to Survey 319 then. I'm not sure if I believe that is what it means because, quite honestly, I don't understand enough about when and why a device connects to a specific router. But again, we're going to get into more detail on that in just a moment. And then again, at 11:20 p.m., twice, 11:20 and 35 seconds, and then 36 seconds, Chris's personal phone connects to the home router. And this is just 2 minutes after the 111-minute phone conversation between he and Nicole Kessinger ends. We then see that Chris's personal phone connects to the home router at the following times: 1:11 a.m., 1:32 a.m., 1:35 a.m. Then Shanann's personal phone connects with the Watts family home router when she arrives home at 1:48 a.m. after Nicole Utoff drops her off at her house. Then, very interestingly, at 5:25 a.m., an unknown Apple device connects to their home router at 5:25 a.m. That's interesting, right? Now, some people have suggested that unknown device might be Shanann's Apple Watch, but I don't think that's the case. First of all, because the authorities had the Apple Watch and would have known that's what it was. But we also have this, another instance of that unknown device connecting to the home router. So it's on Sunday, August 12th, the day before the murders. We have Chris Watts' work phone connecting to the home router at 9:26, 9:29, and again at 9:29. Then at 10:20 a.m., an unknown Apple device connects to the home router. And I believe it's the same device because it has the same MAC address. So on this day, Sunday, August 12th, in the morning, it should have only been Chris and the girls, Bella and Celeste, home by themselves. Nobody else was known to be in the house. So what is this unknown Apple device connecting to the Watts home router, and to whom does that device belong? considering that unknown device connected to the Watts home router at 5:25 a.m. on the morning of the murders at 5:25 a.m. on August 13th, 2018, let's take a look at Chris Watts' movements early that morning. So we can see by looking at this time log provided from Anadarko of the geotab information on Chris Watts' work truck that he starts his truck at 5:18 a.m. at 2825 Saratoga Trail. We then know that Chris Watts takes several trips back and forth to the house, loading his work truck with something and doing God knows what. We know this because we see this happening on Nate's security camera footage that the whole world has seen. Now, we also know from this information provided from Anadarko that Chris Watts leaves 2825 Saratoga Trail at 5:46 a.m. Okay, so this question was asked a while back. He starts his truck at 5:18 a.m. and he leaves his house, he leaves that driveway at 5:46 a.m. He then drives to Survey 319, arriving there at 6:53 a.m. So it is right between the times when Chris Watts starts his work truck at 5:18 a.m. and when he leaves his house at 5:46 a.m. does this unknown Apple device connect to the Watts home router. That really gives you something to think about now, doesn't it? So next, there's some interesting information about the Vivant home security alert system. Now, the Watts had sensors on all their garage doors, the door from the garage to the mudroom, the basement door, the back sliding door, the front door, and there were not any sensors on the windows. And as far as motion sensors go, so anytime a door was open or closed with those sensors on them that I just mentioned, an alert would go off. Motion sensors were located in the right-hand corner of the living room area and in the basement. And there were entrance access via key code on a keypad for the garage door and the front door. Now, the way that the system works is the Vivant logs events and it alerts when all doors are open that have the sensors on them, as I mentioned, and it alerts if a door is not closed within a certain time frame that's been set on the control panel, and it logs all motion as an event. So when we look at the Vivant activity log for Monday, August 13th, we see at 1:48 a.m., Vivant logs Shanann opening the door. At 1:48 a.m., Vivant also logs motion happening in the living room. And it's not until 4:26 a.m. that Vivant logs the basement door opening. Inside, the garage door opens, and also there is motion in the living room. So from 1:48 a.m. to 4:26 a.m., there is no motion or doors opened logged in the Vivant security system alert system that Shanann and Chris receive on their phones. And obviously, Vivant can see when law enforcement requested that information. So the question is, if things happened even remotely like Chris Watts tells it, when exactly did he bring Shanann from the upstairs to the downstairs when he says that Bella was accompanying him and crying? When did the girls come from the upstairs to the downstairs? How did anything that we know happened in the house that day happen without the Vivant security home system detecting the motion that should have been detected as people were moving around within the house and opening and closing doors within the house and from inside the house to the outside? So now let's take a look at neighbor Nate's security camera footage. Actually, this is the perspective from Officer Coonrod's body cam video when he is over at Nate Trinistitch's house and Chris Watts is there. This is the day of the murders, August 13th, later in the day. When Chris has arrived home, Officer Coonrod has responded, and they're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Nate is showing Officer Coonrod this security camera footage, and he explains to Officer Coonrod that the security camera footage is motion triggered. So it is motion that starts the security camera to record. So that means whenever there is an image or some video recorded by Nate's security camera footage, that was just shortly preceded by some kind of significant movement outside that caused the security camera to begin recording.
Is this on continually recording?
Yep. Well,
it's not. Is it motion or is it?
Event.
Okay, so it's motion.
Any motion event that happens, I get cars driving from this street, And this is him at 517.
While Nate is trying to find the security camera footage from the evening before and the early morning that day, he's flipping through some frames, and we can see this one frame that is labeled 11:25 p.m. that is just of headlights going by the Watts house, by Nate's security camera. So isn't that interesting? We can see here on this page from Discovery, these are the last hours of August 12, 2018, that Sunday night, that night of the 111-minute phone conversation, and that night where we see that image on Nate's security camera footage at 11:25 p.m. And at 9:29, Shanann made an unanswered call to Chris Watts. Well, that call was unanswered, at least in part because the 111-minute phone conversation went from 9:28 p.m. to 11:19 p.m. So interestingly, Shanann tried to call Chris Watts just 1 minute after he got on the phone with Nicole Kessinger. And then Shanann, during the phone call, also says, through a text, I tried to call you, giving you an update. And she's telling him that the plane is going to be significantly late. And then at 9:45, she sends a flight information. And it's not until Chris Watts gets off the phone call with Nicole Kessinger that ends at 11:19. At 11:21 p.m., 2 minutes later, Watts replies finally, "Holy crap, sorry, I pass out on the couch. That's going to be late." It is then 4 minutes later, after Chris Watts sends his text to Shanann, that we see this image from Nate's security camera footage of headlights at the Watts house. Whose headlights were those, and what was going on at the Watts house at that hour? Just 6 minutes after the 111-minute phone call ended. What I've circled here in yellow is a screenshot of his security camera menu that is dated at 11:25 p.m. on Sunday, August 12th. And it shows headlights going by the Watts house. So that is most likely, based on what we know about how Nate's security camera works, what triggers it, and when it starts recording, we can safely deduct, I would say. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. I'd be happy to talk about it. Questioning things, you learn more about them. We think we can safely say it's that car going by that set off Nate's security camera. So there's a car going by at 11:25 p.m. So this is 6 minutes after his 111-minute phone call with Nicole Kessinger ends. It is 4 minutes after he finally responds, after a couple hours, to Shanann saying, "Oh my gosh, it's going to be really late," lying, saying, "I fell asleep on the couch." And it's just really curious timing. We can see from the menu selection that Nate goes through the purview of Officer Coonrod's body cam footage, that the next event on his security camera footage menu is when Chris Watts starts to go out to his truck at 5:17 a.m. Now, I would just like to reiterate that it seems that as we look at the official Discovery timeline of events that happened in the investigation towards the murders of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste Watts, that Nicole Kessinger is being protected. Well, we do know that she's being protected because right away, on the first day of the investigation, the FBI has declared she is a protected witness. See, again, that is right here on FBI documentation. As I have noted before, Nicole Kessinger appears throughout the entire official Discovery timeline, all throughout it. In fact, the very first event on the official Discovery timeline is Nicole Kessinger texting the name Shanann Watts on September 1st, 2017, which is 9 months before Chris and Shanann claimed to have met. Then all of a sudden, from Saturday evening, the evening of August 11th, until very late in the day, the evening of Monday, August 13th, many hours after the murders have occurred, for close to 48 hours, Nicole Kessinger is conspicuously missing. Any mentioning of her is conspicuously missing from the official Discovery timeline. Even though during that time, there's a lot that happens with her, including the 111-minute phone conversation on Sunday evening and her 6:16 a.m. ping outside the Watts house on the morning of the murders. Okay, so that's that. And Nikki, let's see. Hey, and welcome, Nikki. How are you doing? Stevenson puts it all together saying, so one user saying that Nicole Kessinger showed up unannounced and she was the lights driving by at 11:25 p.m. Well, I hold that out as a possibility, putting together all that information that we just kind of laid out in that video. So I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Nikki again says, I never thought that may be her. Love live chats. Thanks, group. Yeah, well, I'm so glad that you're here. So, all right, guys. Cuff says maybe that 111-minute phone call was when it was finalized, the plan, I mean. I think that's possible. PKC, welcome. What's the Obsession True Crime? Did you get the email I sent this afternoon? I saw in my emails that you sent an email this afternoon, but I haven't read my emails yet. I'm going to right after this, though, and I will get back to you letting you know I read it. Kurt Stacy, no way. Interesting. Let's see. I can't read anymore. I'm getting tired. Interesting data. Thank you, Kurt. It's so wonderful to see you. Kurt is one of our OGs on this channel. It's always so wonderful to see you. How are you feeling these days, Kurt? And how are you doing? It's great to see you, my friend. Julia Turner says, Kelly, she was doing a lot of talking to law enforcement to be a protected witness by the time of the interviews we see. Right. Yeah. Because she was declared a protected witness on the 15th. The murders happened on the 13th. She was declared a witness on the 15th. That was the day of the FBI interview. That first video recorded interview with Kobach, the one where they're sitting at the yellow table while her dad is there, is on the 16th. That was the day after, according to that FBI memoed paperwork, she was declared a protected witness. Pretty crazy, right? Loco Jazz Hand says, went the tower ping that night then, not the next morning? Well, your ping is going to, as far as we can see it on the phone bills, the way we have access to her data, the ping is going to be around where the call is initiated, right? So, say if that 111-minute phone call was initiated when she was at her house and then she drove up to the Watts house, some people think that happened. I don't know if I think that happened. I'm just using this as an example. The ping, from our perspective, at least in the phone bills that we can see, the data that we're privy to, would show the ping happening close to her house and not the Watts house, because you're only going to have one location on a phone bill. Anna Orlando says, why are there two different pictures of Chris Watts in his county oranges? The pictures are so different. One is a heavy Chris Watts. The other one's a skinny. It's very odd. Not sure what you're talking about, and I'm not sure, but there's a lot of odd things in this case, and I believe you that that's one of them. Loco Jazz Hand says she talked a lot but didn't say a word. That was true. That's right. I know. Miss P, welcome. How are you doing? Says, I can't believe the NK out there is like nothing. Isn't that wild? Shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Nikki again says she has to know something to have been declared protective. Maybe there's got to be something there, right? There's got to be something there. Yep, there's got to be something there. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Please hit like and subscribe if you haven't. We would love to have you come back. Thank you so much for being so wonderful in chat tonight, you guys. This is why I just love doing live streams and, tuning into the chats and what you guys are saying. You have so much insight and perspective that is different from my own, that always gets me thinking and helps us all, kind of get to the next level of information. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. The narrator says to ASAP Lizzie, I don't think it's going to go away until there's a new DA willing to do a proper investigation. That's right. Oh, hey, Cuffy, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Cuffy says, I knew I joined this channel for a reason. Love you, Cal. Love you back, Cuffy. Sherry, the moderator in this channel, and I were on the phone the other day. We were just talking about how much we like you, Cuffy. We're so glad you're part of the conversation. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Interesting, right? Yeah, totally. Yeah. Anaphylaxis says, good night, everybody, and thank you for all you do, Anaphylaxis. Thank you for a great discussion. I agree. Thank you, Brandon, ASAP, Lizzie, Kurt, Stacy. Again, it was great to see you. Oh, thank you for subbing, Nikki. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And to everybody who's here, thank you so much. Whatever your role is, moderators, you are the bomb. You know how much I love you. Members, subscribers, people are just hanging out there in the rafters. Come on down and subscribe. We would love to have you back. And for all the people who are new here tonight in chat, we appreciate you and what you had to contribute to the conversation. Good night, Tony, offline, Susan Peterson, Pepper, Michelle G. It was great to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Molly, great to see you as well. And hey, sweet Melissa, how are you doing? I will be on the replay. I'm watching Dateline. Oh, man, I love Dateline. Maybe I'm going to watch me some Dateline. Honey Bun, my girl. Just became a managing moderator. Thank you so much. From the backwoods, I'm coming in to say I love y'all. And we love you back, girl. Okay, so I'm going to say bye. It's so hard for me to sign off. But remember, guys, life is hard. So please be good to each other. We deserve to be good to one another. But mostly be good to yourself because you deserve it. I know you do. And you just deserve it, man. Do something awesome for yourself tomorrow. I hope you do because you deserve it. And I want that for you. So I will see you guys very soon. I've done a ton of uploads over the past 2 weeks on this case and other cases. The Idaho case, Casey Anthony, Karen Reed. Definitely go check them out. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. And leave a heart in the comments for the victims. And yeah, appreciate all of you. Bree Marie. Thank you, Kelly, for keeping this case live. Well, thank you for being here, Bree Marie. I really appreciate you. And Rebe, oh, you're still here. I saw you way back in the beginning. I'm glad you're still here. All right, guys, everyone have a great night, and I'll see you soon.